Hey everyone, let's move on to our onboarding screens. So I'm just going to place the original just below it, and then we can move on to these ones. Okay, so let's bring these up. Perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a copy of this, and I'm going to delete everything about it. Perfect. So I have this container, I have this illustration, and then I have my container over here. So I'm just going to paste that in here, and I'm just going to say this is I'm just going to call it a container. And I'm going to call this one a button container. And then I'm going to just grab this button and put it right in that button container. Let's just drag it in there. We can delete this button now. And what I'm going to do is I am going to name this one primary and just put next. I think I have it as next. Yeah, that looks good. And now we're going to come in and really clean up our designs here. So I'm just going to use an 800, and then for this one I'm going to, what is it at? It's 16 pixels. So we can come in and just set that body nicely there. And then I think this is, yes, N600. So we're going to set those both as fill. So perfect. That's looking really, really good. Now we can actually come down and bring that just like this. So there we go. We're going to reuse this item over and over again. But the first thing I want to do is I want to place something at the top here, and I'm going to go into our assets tab, go into my headers. Let's see if we have, we have this we can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it right there. And I'm actually going to go into the base instead of using, I'll show you, instead of using the actual section header, and maybe we should just keep it as like the base version and maybe not make it a base version and no variants, since there's, so many different use cases. It may be easier just to toggle all these things off. So like just have something like this. And we can probably just write something like skip. Keep that right at the top, and then we can also add some padding. Sometimes I add padding right directly within here. With like iPhone screens, I like just starting with 48 pixels because it goes right under the notch perfectly. And then the next thing I'm going to do is we have this blur in the background. I'm going to recreate that. I'm going to actually use just a circle, and I'm just going to call it blur. Perfect. So we'll do purple for the first blur, and then we'll just add the effect there. We can do layer blur, and then we can just go right to like, we need to go to maybe like 100, and then I'm going to turn off my grids. So now we have like this nice little blur. I'm also going to go into my assets again and grab a miscellaneous item here. So we have these, and I'm going to place that in. Now we could group these all as a auto layout frame. Could also keep them as is, so 0 pixels, and bring this in onto the grid. Everything's looking really great. And then I am going to remove the padding there and just keep this like this. So now we are going to just swap this out for the person maybe looking, like searching. No. Yeah, I like this one. So I'm just going to center that. I'm using Option Command. You can use Alt or sorry, Option Shift. You can use Alt Shift to, bring these items in like that. And then there we go. So now we have this item here. We can make it purple. Okay. Not too bad. Perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, clean this up. We're going to move by with this text. Oops. Okay, we're going to add this text in now. So I'm just copying them and pasting them. I'm using Command Shift V or Control Shift V when I paste it, because if I didn't and I just pasted it in, sometimes you'll paste it like this with its other properties. So I'm pasting in with those properties, and we can maybe change this title a bit. Curated products by our professionals. And then for this item, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap it out for like a search. No, products. Yeah, there we go. So we'll swap it out for our products, and maybe we'll go with blue instead of green this time. So I'm just going to grab the blue version. Grab a blue again. Whoops. Perfect. And then let's go into our layers tab. Where's our blur? I'm going to just make sure my blur is at the bottom. So just by using that closed bracket, left closed bracket to make it that way. And there we go. And now what we can do with this blur is like we can move it like this way, maybe increase it a bit. So if we do like animate it, we can have some nice thing moving around in the background as well. Okay, so that's looking really, really good. I'm actually going to just bump this up a bit. Perfect. I'm loving that. And then we are going to go ahead and copy that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just use maybe like a mailbox. And I'm going to swap this out for yellow because it's like our final one. And then the blur in the back. Now we have the blur in the back. That's just going to move to there, and we could probably bump that opacity down a bit because that's really, really bright. And there we go. So now we have some onboarding screens. I'm going to make sure this one is at the back too, and then I'm gonna maybe we will just clean up some of these other things in a second. So we have that. Perfect. It's looking good. We can make this a primary button now, just like that. So, a tertiary button. And we can change this to sign me up. And maybe we'll change this text. I don't like the text that we had there. So maybe we can do like free shipping and concierge services. So make it feel like a really, really good deal. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to write, actually, you know what? I have over here, it says ask me again later. Like I think at this point it's like maybe we just have like an exit right at the very top. So that way we don't get people like asking. So we don't need this container. So I'm going to remove it. And there we go. Let's just bring this down a little bit. Perfect. And that is how we can make our very own onboarding screens. So I'm selecting all of them and renaming them. Looks beautiful. On to the next one.